You're listening to this Everyday Life Unscripted, a Success Smart VIP program.
The old school dating rules used to be before you gave your heart away to somebody, you tried to get to know them a little bit. Now people go home with somebody and not have a clue as to who they are. They get married and then they realize, wow, this isn't who I thought he was, or this isn't who I thought she was. The gentleman said you should get to know yourself first. I thought that was very powerful because, one, how can you expect somebody to care for you if you don't care for yourself? What is it that you want from a man? If you want to be with somebody, you need to know what you want from a man. And so most women will say, I want someone who can take care of me. They have a great job, look good, drive a nice car, have a nice home, they take me out to dinner. They have this whole list of things they want from a man.
And sometimes they even have unrealistic expectations. I've had people to say, I'm talking about the physical, they want someone whose body is cut, or whatever word you want to use nowadays, but they are morbidly obese. I sit there in wonderment that you're this big, but you're requiring someone else to be physically fit.
Some men like big women.
True. I know here a lot of people saying, I want someone that's morbidly obese.
I hadn't heard that before.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's usually the opposite. And the point is, you're asking people to set the table pretty, but you are not bringing pretty to the table all the time. So you got to be willing to give what you want to.
So what you're saying is, if you want someone who's fit and they buff, look like they work out, look really good, eat healthy, have a nice ride, have a clean home, they have all these nice things, articulate well, present well, is someone you would be so proud to take home. You're saying that you should present yourself in a way where they would be proud to take you home.
Exactly.
Okay.
And a lot of times what they're presenting is fake. You need to get to know a person first. And one way you get to know a person is to listen and observe. When I was younger, I had a list.
A list.
A list. Number one, God is being head of the household. I mean, I was young when I made this list. And I observed if they respected their mother, because I felt like if they respected their mother, they were going to respect me. I observed how he and his mom worked together. He was very supportive. His father passed away when he was a child. So he grew up with having the responsibility on his own to help support his mom even while in high school. I also observed whether or not he engaged in alcoholic beverages. Also, whether they hung out on the corner, those sorts of things. And how much respect, number one, he showed for himself as well as shown towards me. That's not a lot to ask of a person. And if any of them were not in place, that was it for me. But you know, some people grow up in dysfunction families and they really don't know what a family is all about. They really don't know what love is all about. Their minds are disorganized because of traumatic things that may have gone on. So they don't know.
That's true.
And from what I understand, young ladies chooses men like their father. If the father was abusive or an alcoholic, they have a tendency to be drawn to that type of person. So, you know, you have to really look at a lot of things. And you don't get a lot of that when you're growing up. I don't know what parents are doing today, but we have a lot of young parents out in the world today clueless as to how to rear their children and instill valuable principles into their child. They have no clue. I could go on and on, but I'm gonna stop there.
That list is really important to have. You know, we chuckle when we hear it, but it is very important to have because it's a concrete way of knowing what you're looking for.
I'm listening to what you all are saying, and a lot of children come up in single family homes. They may be raised by a single mom or a single dad. And many times they don't have any ideas to what that looks like, what love looks like. They don't know what it looks like to have a man to protect and to love on and to care for a woman. They've never seen that. They've never seen that. And so many times what happens is they accept the first train coming. If a guy shows a little bit of interest or says, "Oh, you're so pretty," or "You have such a beautiful body," they believe that the person likes them and that the person is interested in them. And what so many men have been saying, and this is what I want women to hear: if a man doesn't pay much attention to you, or the only time you see him is at 2:00 in the morning, or it's after 12, they're not interested in you. We're talking about how to get a man, not just any man, but the man you want. Many times women find themselves in relationships with men who don't even want them, and they have no clue that the man doesn't want them. I even ask myself, how do you know if a man wants you or doesn't want you? You don't want a man who doesn't want you. And if a man does not respect you, if he doesn't cherish you, he don't want you. And men have been saying it. In fact, I heard a man saying it the other day. He said, when a man really wants to be with you, there are certain things he is going to do. You're not going to have to ask him. You're not going to have to beg him. He is going to do it because he wants to do it. You will feel special in his life. I'm encouraging ladies, please, if you have to, wait. If you want the type of man that loves and appreciates you and makes you feel like a princess or a queen, you may have to wait on that. If you just want to have someone by your side or someone just to make you feel good and keep you warm, then you go for that. But you have to be okay with what you get. If you don't mind if he's with other people or other women, then you can't complain about that. You have to be just happy with that. And my heart goes out to women who really want someone to love and care for them, but they accept a man who doesn't. Because at least it's a man, and at least I have someone. But the truth is, you really don't have anybody. If he's not respecting you, loving you, if you've been with him for 3, 4, 5 years and he hasn't introduced you to his family or his mom, there's a likelihood he don't want to be with you. That's something that is hard for women to hear. You hear a lot about color, and I think she's unattractive. I think she's attractive. My heart goes out to women who have ever heard anybody tell them that they're ugly. People who have been told that you're ugly or you're not attractive will do what they think is necessary to make themselves look good. But the truth is, you should not take what somebody else says as the gospel truth. If someone tells you you're unattractive or you're not pretty, you may not be pretty to that person. But there may be someone else out in the world that thinks you are beautiful. So stop taking every man's word or every person's word and making it your truth. When women make that their truth, that's when they start accepting anything. Just like the woman whose ex-husband told her she needed to get her nose done. She wasn't attractive with that kind of nose, and she spent almost the rest of her years trying to get the perfect nose. She wanted a nose like one movie star, a jaw like another movie star. And my thing was, you want those things, but those people have gotten work done on their nose and their cheeks. The message that has gone out for so many years to women who are beautiful, that you have to be this person in order to get this kind of attention. And that's just not true. There are men out there who like big bone women. There are men who like light skin, dark skin. There are men who like every type of woman under the sun. You included. Well, it's
you
true.
mentioned about the lady was mentioning about a list, and you mentioned red flags. Well, red flags is not only for the other person. Some red flags are for you. And as you mentioned, you feel that you have to go and alter yourself for somebody. That ought to be a red flag to you. Yeah. What am I trying to do? Who am I trying to gain? Other red flags is if a man asks, "Are your children asleep?"
Oh,
that should be a red flag. But if the man asks, "Have your children ate?" that should tell you something.
You are heavy. You are heavy.
They want to be alert. You can't be asleep on the job when it comes to this, because if you are, you're going to end up with some heartache.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to go back to what he said, though. He said, if a man asks, "Are your children asleep?"
Ooh, that's one of those snake like crawlers.
Oh my goodness. Not have your children eaten. See, that's what I'm talking about, right? It depends on the type of man you want, right?
It also depends on the type of mentality the female has about herself, her mentality.
Yeah.
You don't know what she has gone through in her early developmental years.
Yeah,
so the mere fact that he called her and asked her if the children were asleep, that could have been, well, this could be our time together. But they just haven't been taught to appreciate themselves as beautiful queens.
Yeah.
And I'd like to add, if he thinks you're ugly and you're making all these changes, in my mind, I think his eyes would probably stray towards something or someone he thinks is beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think he's going to be faithful.
That's a good point.
That person will never be satisfied.
Right.
When you start making those adjustments, you'll be 95 years old and going and get cut on in your eyes and face, taking this off, putting that on. He'll never be satisfied. So you have to find someone who is happy with you, who is content with you as you are. It's so sad that a lot of women buy into this beauty thing instead of appreciating themselves for who they are. And so they're forever keeping up with the latest this and the latest that. So if the man says, "Hey, I want you to adjust this," you're going to adjust it, not realizing there's a lot of recalls out there now. There's a lot that can hurt you. So people have to be careful, be content with what God has given them.
He's had a lot of recall. But look though, he is right. Listen, and I'm gonna tell you, some of you married people, You know, the ones who are married and think, oh, you got it all locked down and everything's golden and I'm good because I'm married. You better be careful too. You need to be careful too, because the divorce courts are full of a lot of people who thought they had their husbands on lock.
You're listening to this Everyday Life Unscripted, a Success Smart VIP program.